Holmes has done an excellent job at trying to bring in talent this offseason, most notably addressing another big position of need, which has been defensive back. Last year, he attempted to bring in C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Emmanuel Mosley, and Cam Sutton to address the problem. It didn't quite work out. Now we do have Cam Sutton in his second season as a Lion this year in 2024. Emmanuel Mosley's coming back off of his second ACL injury in as many seasons. And Brad Holmes once again goes out and signs 2 corners in the free agency period here in 2024. One of which, Carlton Davis, who is expected to come in and compete for the number 1 position with Cam Sutton, if not play, either or left or right side on the defense. He's most notably known to play the left side of the defense, which is where we expect him to be. And then bringing in Amik Robertson, who is a smaller nickel style of corner, somebody that can play in the slot as well as, in the nickel primarily. And he's somebody that can compete at a high level. He's proven that he's been able to do it while with the Raiders, and we're expecting for him to also come in and win a position on this team. So what does that do for players like Brian Branch, and where will his position end up migrating to? My thought process is this. It is possible that Brian Branch ends up back in the backfield this season, taking different snaps at safety, leaving the opportunity for the Lions to go out and grab another corner to bring in to groom while we have enough players to teach a young corner what to do. Trial by fire at the corner position is never good. Bringing in a corner that can come in and learn from some experienced veteran leadership is probably the best way to do it. We saw what happened to Okudah. The guy came into this league with no leadership, from the coaching staff to the players on the field. He didn't have anybody that could teach him and groom him and help him become a better pro. That's not the case in Detroit anymore, because we have some of the best coaching staff in the entire league, one of the best head coaches, and a general manager that cares a whole lot about this team. I do see that there is the potential to add a corner in the first round. And since Kool-Aid Mckinstry, the guy that we're going to talk about in this video, had suffered a fracture in his foot, the question now becomes, will his draft stock push him down on draft day? Will he slip out of the first round and end up somewhere in the second round? And if that's the case, would Brad Holmes upgrade yet another position that is not really a need anymore to stack an area that's been a problem? And I think the answer is yes. Our current depth chart looks like this. Left cornerback, Carlton Davis. Strong safety, Ifeatu Melifonwu. Free safety, Kirby Joseph. Right cornerback, Cameron Sutton. And nickel back, Brian Branch. Behind Cameron Sutton, you have Amik Robertson, which I think that this has to be a typo because Amik Robertson is a slot corner. I do not believe that he's going to be out on the right side of this defense. Behind Kirby Joseph, you have Brandon Joseph, who was an undrafted free agent last season, and somebody that, obviously has a long way to go to earning a position on this team for the long term. Emmanuel Mosley is coming back from his second ACL, like I had mentioned earlier, not expected to see him back till about week 5 of the regular season. Just came back the other day. Khalil Dorsey earned his way onto this team last year by playing through special teams, was a good contributor between punts and kick returning, opportunities that he had to fill in for. And then behind him, you have Craig James. Stephen Gilmore obviously has made his way onto this team last season, and he is also vying for a spot on this team. So as it sits right now, just with the cornerback position, the Lions have 7 corners, 3 safeties, and a nickelback in Brian Branch. The Lions carried about 11 DBs on the roster last season, and we're already over full, but we haven't hit camp yet, and we need a lot of camp bodies. But let's talk about Kool-Aid Mckinstry, the guy that projects as a perfect fit to this team just by his name alone. Grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, attended Pinson Valley High School in Pinson, Alabama. He was named Mr. Football as a senior after breaking up 12 passes with 2 interceptions, both of which he had returned for touchdowns. On the offensive side of the ball, he caught 45 passes, 706 yards, and 11 touchdowns. He was named the USA Today Defensive Player of the Year as a senior. He was also rated a 5-star recruit and committed to play football at Alabama. The nice thing about Mckinstry is his name, his nickname, right? One of the nicest things about him is his nickname. The guy is very genuine, very open, very calm demeanor, a well-liked individual, great locker room guy, someone that likes to communicate on the field. But it was his grandmother that kicked him off at such a young age of like 1 day old and said that he had the smile like the Kool-Aid man. And the Kool-Aid name stuck ever since. Signing an NIL deal with Kool-Aid, it just was fitting. So Kool-Aid Mckinstry has a perfect name. to join the Kool-Aid drinking Detroit Lions. So let's talk a little bit about his history here with Alabama, a little bit about his strengths and his weaknesses. And I'm going to go ahead and drop some links in the description for some highlights because I'm not even going to fight with YouTube on adding highlights to the video today. So Kool-Aid Mckinstry, little overview, 3-year starter, former 5-star prospect, obviously has the quirky name, but he has a very consistent game. Mckinstry is patient. He's well-groomed in matching the outside release and riding the inside release from the press coverage scheme. He's confident to handle business on an island. He's okay playing by himself, and he's also to stay in phase as the route travels vertically. Matching hip-to-hip transitions, he mirrors pretty well. He's not overly fast, but he does play with a certain acceleration to him that I believe is coming from his football knowledge. Someone that anticipates well, has very good instincts, reads the play before the play happens. And those are all things that you want to see in your football intelligence from your young rookies. Can they grasp high-level schemes, and be able to pivot and make changes, mid-play, which Kool-Aid has definitely displayed that he can do. As with most college corners, though, he will need to transition some of his open field hand usage, which is very handsy at times, into quality footwork. I always say that a good corner that can play with his hands in his pockets will do better and project better at the next level than somebody that is very handsy, because that's going to turn into a lot of dirty laundry on Sundays. He's very aggressive in coverage, and he's also a pretty solid tackler. He could find himself needing some improvement with his toughness in that, up on the line, jamming at the line, that he is staying physical throughout the process of the play. He is more of a pure cover man, playmaker than anything else, but he does have a certain level of poise and intelligence and exceptional athleticism that should lead him toward becoming a great outside corner at the next level. Definitely falls in line with scheme versatility, and we know that Brad Holmes loves versatility. Kool-Aid Mckinstry was a combine visit with the Detroit Lions, and we're expecting great things at his pro day, where he will have the opportunity to finally show everybody what he has. Some of his strengths: smart football player, very good communication on the back end. He slides and strides and rides the release very well from stall to takeoff, and does very well with timing the routes. Very balanced, very athletic, tends to remain in the phase with the receivers, turning those hips, flipping on a dime, mirroring, it's the flip switch. He turns and he runs. I do believe that he does a nice job at reading the receiver's eyes, but also paying attention to the quarterback. When he does have his chest to the quarterback, he's reading the quarterback's eyes well and breaking on plays, and that's why he's able to defend so many passes. As I said earlier, he plays with a lot of poise and patience, and definitely can track deep ball targets. Well-timed punches. This guy's constantly trying to make a play happen, where he's punching the ball, clawing for the ball, doing whatever he can to try to create a turnover. He is also a very highly capable punt returner, so earning a position on a team, even though he is a first-round grade, if he does slip into the second round, no matter who you are, you still have to earn your way onto the team. Somebody that can play special teams, that can return punts, has a bigger opportunity to make the team over anybody else. But as a first or second round, I don't think that we're going to have to worry about that too much. Weaknesses: he does lack a little bit of short area quickness and burst. He tends to tug at the receiver a little bit more throughout the breaks, which, like I said, that handsy, aggressive play, it needs to turn into footwork. He needs to just shove those mitts into his pockets and learn how to track the receiver, mirror the receiver without using his hands. Bad habits: he sometimes is sleeping a little bit on plays when he's not directly targeted. That's going to have to change. He's going to have his head in the game consistently and on a swivel. Sometimes he's too content to stay in the backdrop as a run defender, as opposed to coming up and charging into the box, full force, ready to make a tackle. But I'm not worried so much about his physicality. I don't think that there's an issue there. I just feel like sometimes he just gets too complacent. And he does have a little bit of inconsistency in his reaction time to the route combinations, whether it's in man or zone. So, he's a serious guy in the field. He knows ball. You rarely see him bust, because he's always prepared, and he's really natural in coverage, according to an NFC regional scout. Kool-Aid Mckinstry had this to say at the combine. He says, "I have great IQ and just a real football player who understands the game." He also said that he felt like, direct quote, "I feel like I can play the slot and guard whoever's in the slot, whether that's a fast or a quick guy. I feel my knowledge and understanding of leverage as a nickel is at a high level." His biggest challenge that he thinks that he's going to face at the next level was this, and I quote, "The biggest challenge, I would say, is probably just staying consistent in physicality. Just being physical, play in, play out, whether it's run or pass. Just understanding your assignment, because in the inside, one play, you're like a linebacker, which you've got to set the edge and be physical and shoot the gaps. The next play, you may be covering like you're a corner." So his statement kind of mirrors exactly with some of the things that I've seen on tape. Now I want you to watch his tape. Check the link in the description for his video highlights of this last season at Alabama. And tell me what you think about Kool-Aid Mckinstry. I think that you guys are going to love this dude. He projects really well at the next level. Somebody that I believe could fit very well into the culture just by listening to him. I haven't seen one bad thing written about this guy. And as we know, Nick Saban has done an excellent job putting more than 47 players into the first round of the NFL draft. And I don't think it's going to stop in this draft. So good luck to Kool-Aid Mckinstry. Look, I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he becomes a Detroit Lion. I think that it would be a great opportunity for the Lions to stack that cornerback room, the DB room, however you want to refer to it, and keep us consistent for many years to come. All right, y'all. That's it for Rock Down Detroit Lions in this episode of Kool-Aid Mckinstry. Will he become a Lion or not in 2024?